Greetings, comrades. Hey, baseball season is almost here, and I'm so excited. So, anyway, this is going to be part 2 of the March Wraps and Recs. My intention for March had been to read murder mysteries, and I did read some, but there are a couple other books I snuck in there as well. So, actually, I'm going to start with one of those that I read, and I'm kind of staying on my schedule. I'm not a very fast reader, so I'm trying to do 3 books every 2 weeks, and a little bit ahead if I can. I put a goal on for 75 books for this year. I've never done that before, like set goals of numbers to read. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing that because it kind of, sometimes I think it's making me not read books that are going to take me longer and throw me off my count. But we'll see. So far for the first few months, maybe I can get a few ahead. I'm a few ahead, but we'll see. So anyway, murder mysteries this month. The one I want to talk about first of all that I finished is book 2 of the Wells and Wong series. And this is by Robin Stevens. This one is called Arsenic for Tea. The first one was called Murder Most Unladylike. And this is about, this takes place in England in the 1930s. And it's about 2 girls. They're like 13 years old, 13 I guess. And they form a detective society. And it's kind of a secret society, and there's just the 2 of them in it. Daisy Wells, who is the daughter of a lord, and Hazel Wong, who has been sent to school in England by her parents. Her father went to school in England. He's a very successful businessman in Hong Kong. And they become good friends, and in the first book there was a murder at their school that they had to solve. So in this book, it's several months later, it's the spring holidays, and instead of going back to Hong Kong, Hazel has gone home with Daisy to spend the holidays there with her. And it's also going to be Daisy's birthday, so a couple of other friends from the school show up and come to take part. And of course, there's some nefarious goings on, and there's a murder, and they have to solve it. Now, I think these books are really good. I like them. I'm going to, down below, I'm going to put my grading system. I grade pretty toughly, if that's a word. Anyway, but I really like these series. I think I gave the first, I don't know, I'd give this one 3.5 stars. I think it's very good. It's definitely worth reading, and if you like middle grade books and mysteries, definitely don't miss this because they're good. I think the author does a really good job. The 2 main characters are very different. Hazel is much more contemplative. She's more concerned about people. Daisy is more headstrong and very quick and wants to go out and do a lot of things. And the author does a good job of combining these things and balancing them so that the 2 personalities work well together to solve these crimes. So I really like them, and I do highly recommend them again. And this is book 2, and book 3, I don't know what it's called, but it's coming out pretty soon, I think, like this spring, as I recall. So there's that one. Excuse me, I got to put my cap back on my fountain pen here. Okay. The next one is, now these next 2 aren't murder mysteries, so I went off track a little bit on this month. But this is one I had actually started before I got into March, and so I set it aside because it's more of a, I guess, a kind of fantasy fairy tale type of book called The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. And this is about 2 children. I think they're actually twins. They're like 12, age 12, 13, something like that. Yeah, they have their 12th birthday, I think, in this book. Their father has died. Their mother works a lot. The fairy tales were always a big deal in their family. Their father used to tell them a lot, and the grandmother, so they know a lot about them. And one of the things that kind of for their birthday that their grandmother does is bring them the book that that she and her parents used to read to them when they were little, of all these fairy stories. And it turns out one way or another that they end up inside the book in the fairy tales. And the fairy tales are a little bit different because time has passed a little bit differently, and the characters that are in this book, that are in this land where all the fairy stories are, these are after the stories that we know. It's like what happens after, Sleeping Beauty gets awoken and Rapunzel gets rescued and, all of that kind of stuff. And I really liked it. I thought, in a way, I thought it was a little bit long because in order to get back home, they have to go on this quest where they have to gather up all of these things. And there were a lot of them that they had to gather up, and which made it a little bit long for me. There were like 7 things they had to get, and I think they probably maybe would have done a little bit better if they'd only had to do 5. But it was pretty good. It moved along. Things kept happening. It didn't really drag anywhere. It was just a lot of things to get to before you get to the end. So again, the characters in the book, the fairy tale characters, I don't read a lot of fairy tale stories, and I don't read a lot of reimagined fairy tale stories. Well, I don't read any, actually. So to me, these came across as pretty original because they take place, years after the stories that we know happened. And I have to tell you, Goldilocks is great. She shows up in here well, and she's definitely my favorite character. I just... It was great, and it was a big surprise. And so check this book out. And this is the first book in the series. There are at least 2 others. And so I'm definitely going to continue on because I really did like the series a lot. And I do recommend it. It's got a great cover, and it moves along pretty well. It's just, there was a lot to get through in this book. And I guess maybe I just really don't have a very good attention span. It's probably more me than it is the book. But I really enjoyed it. The characters of the kids were good. Their adventures were good. So, yeah, I do recommend that one. If nothing else, just read it just for Goldilocks. She's great. Okay, the next book, the last one that I finished in March, is the second book, or, well, I don't know if it's the second book or not, but it's the next book after, I think, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, Brian Selznick, Wonderstruck. This book is also one that is partly written and partly graphic, with his wonderful, wonderful images and pencil drawings and stuff, as you can see here. Hopefully you can see a little bit of it there if you're not familiar with his book. This one was a little bit different than, it's a doorstop, so I'm not going to keep holding it up. Okay, it's a beautiful cover. And on the inside, it's also... Underneath the cover is this lovely blue with the lightning, and the wraparound part of it goes and has one of the characters' faces on it. This book is a little bit different than Hugo Cabaret in that it is actually 2 stories that are told. One is told in pictures and one is told in words. One takes place in the 1920s, and the other takes place in the 1970s. One's about a young girl in the 1920s and a young boy. His story is the one that is written, and he never knew his father, and his mother has recently died. And he finds information that makes him think his father is in New York City. So he travels, he's in Minnesota, and he figures out a way to go and get to New York City and tries to find his father. And so it's kind of about what happens with that. And these 2 stories that do eventually dovetail into one another. It's a really good book. It's as thoroughly as entertaining, I thought, as Hugo Cabret. I really liked it a lot. Both the stories are very good. The artwork is excellent, of course, and so I highly recommend that. And that one, to me, this again, these are, I think all of these books would be considered for me 3.5 stars, which is a really good rating for me, because I tend to be kind of tough, and I would give them all that. I do very much recommend them. They're very entertaining. I liked them. So that's basically it. That's pretty much the wrap-up for the 3 books I read in the last half of the month. I hope you are enjoying your reading. And if you've read these, if you have any comments or anything like that, or you got any suggestions, thinking that if I liked these, I might like something else, I'm always happy to hear those, so let me know in the comments down below. So thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in the next video. So happy trails and happy reading.